What is up, y'all? It's V2 here. Um, Cole just dropped, you know what I'm saying? Fun fact, my first listen, well, it was like the first like six, seven songs, and so what had happened was, I was doing Uber, right? And this guy I just picked up, he got in the V. I said, what's good? He said, what's up? And by accident, I played like the beginning of the intro of the first track, but that was like before he even got in the V. And I was like, nah, I can't play this shit right now. I'm bugging. I was gonna listen to my headphones while I'm driving people. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna finish Uber, then I'm gonna lock in. But on my in my car, you can see the name of the last song I was playing on the dashboard or whatever it is on the screen on the middle, whatever. And he was like, "Yo, you bumping that Cole?" And I'm like, "Nah." I was like, I was about to, but I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna listen to it afterward." He's like, "Bro, put that shit on right now." I was like, "Fuck it." So I listened to the first seven, eight songs with this nigga, bro, and that shit was solid. I'm not gonna cap. I just want to say before I even start like the video and everything like that, it was a solid project. After I drove him home, I went to I went near my crib to the parking lot, 2 a.m. in the morning, blast the whole album. I fuck with it. It's a good project, bro. You know what I'm saying? I do wish he was a little bit more in depth about his career, a little bit more, and talked about his life a little bit. I feel like he talked about a lot of serious subjects, which was perfectly fine too. But overall, the project was pretty fire. I think disc one is better than disc two, in my opinion. And I'm not gonna go crazy about like go too much in depth. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a reaction video. But I will say my favorite tracks on here off the first listen because it's a long ass album, bro. Like, bro, that shit was like an hour 30 or something like that. Maybe I'm tripping, but Safety, Poor Thing, Legacy, Bunts, Road Blues, Who the Fuck It Is, Drum and Bass, Hit the Gas. Yo, I'm actually obsessed with that song. Like the ludicrous drums on that motherfucker, bro. I'm obsessed. The Let Out, the Fall Off is Inevitable, Old Dog, I Love Her Again, and yeah, I think that was like my favorite ones. So I gotta listen to it more though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going off the first listen. So throughout the weekend, I'm gonna listen to it. Hopefully, my Patriots win the Super Bowl this weekend. And enough of me talking. Let's just react.
After almost an entire decade since the album has been announced, J. Cole has done it. He has released the album that his entire career has been
And this can't be his last album, bro.
building to, in of course no other record than The Fall Off. And with everything that this album just gave us, what is clear is that nothing is ever going to be the same again for J. Cole. And before we go any further into how the release and impact this album has already changed the rap world and music history in a way more consequential than most albums we will ever see even can, leave a like, subscribe, hype, and do whatever else you can, because we got so much to get into, and we have never seen a moment like this as hip hop fans. As well, after waiting 2,849 days since
this has been anticipated for a minute,
very
bro.
idea of The Fall Off was first introduced to us, we have finally gotten an album that almost.
But I always wonder what happened to It's a Boy. It was supposed. I remember the note book, whatever he had. He had all the projects in order, but It's a Boy never dropped. So.
Real to even be out. And I just have to say, no matter where you stand on the record right now, just do yourself a favor, realize the moment we are in hip hop, and in terms of album drops we have seen this decade, and honestly, even the last 15 years or so, if you want to go that far, this is one of the biggest releases we are ever going to collectively witness and experience, because everyone, and I mean everyone, is tapped into this.
I didn't put 2-6 on there, nigga.
Just
I'm
look
bugging,
at the
bro.
trending page real quick. About an hour after it dropped, this album pretty much stopped time itself, which in this era hardly anything can do that. But with that level of attention, between J. Cole presenting this album like it's going to be his last, and at the very least, it's been made with that very intention, and then of course coming off the beef of 2024 and being Cole's first album since a time in rap that genuinely.
And I'm glad he didn't mention the beef throughout the whole tape. I don't know, maybe I missed a couple lines or so, maybe he did, but from what I was hearing, from what I heard, it seemed like, he was just focused on just the album, so props to that.
Genuinely changed everything. J. Cole has never had more pressure to deliver a great album in his entire life, and I would
Facts.
argue there has been few singular rap albums that have dropped in a long time that have been this important to everything around it, and of course with those expectations. Things are bound to get messy in terms of the discussions, feelings, and reaction that this record is going to cause, but what J. Cole knowingly did and I guess learned from in the process of everything that has went down in his career, especially over the past 2 years, well, ultimately was make an album that the more you listen back to some of the songs and just think about the moments that may have stood out to you, is so obviously and evidently for him and his love for hip hop. Because I mean, when we just look at a track like I Love Her Again, which of course samples Common's legendary and one of the most important rap songs ever written and recorded in I Used to Love Her, to the track Life Sentence, where Cole is not just interpolating and using the hook from DMX's classic track How's It Going Down bar for bar, but he really uses X's exact cadence in a way where it almost feels like it just got directly sampled off the original track because of how accurate the impression sounds. And then Cole also interpolates the hook of Outkast's iconic track Elevators here as well too. From all of that to even the album cover as well, which is a photo Cole took when he was in high school, to the back of the cover, which shows off a bunch of posters J. Cole used to have on his wall that honor his favorite rappers and people he looked up to. Well, altogether, when you see Cole make decisions like these and just lean so much into his love for rap music throughout this album by telling stories that are built off so many different tropes and reimagining or expanding them even that have been rooted in hip-hop, and then by seemingly joining the other members of the Big Three and Kendrick Lamar and Drake when it comes to rapping from the perspective of Tupac, which we will talk more about later, the fall-off isn't...
That's What If. Did I put What If on there? I don't remember, but I like it. Some people were saying, I don't mess with that because you don't really know these niggas. You don't even know like what it was for real, but I liked it. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I thought it was cool. So whoever felt offended by it, I guess, I don't know.
An album that J. Cole made for himself and the story he wants to look back on for the rest of his life over doing or prioritizing any other possible thing. And he just made sure to create the scenes for all of his hip-hop fanboy moments, whether it's rapping over certain samples, honoring his heroes, or anything in between. And from that to then making this a double album that is almost 2 whole hours long, where Cole made his first concept album since 2018's KOD, keep in mind. And he is supposed to be rapping from the age of 29 on the first disc, which would of course put him in the year 2014 while he is trying to reach the height of his career commercially. And then while the second disc features him at 39, where he is coming off the Apology and the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef and everything that happened and followed there. I mean, Cole really set this thing up like a Tarantino film or something, while feeling like he is checking off the ultimate list of things he still wants to do before ending his career possibly, which, well, has disc 1, which is called disc 29, is supposed to take place in the year 2014. Cole's commitment to the concept I find pretty admirable in a lot of ways, because when you think of something like how Cole wanted to feature Future on 2014 Forest Hills Drive and it just never materialized.
Really? I think we were trying to get Mos Def on 03 Adolescents, Hook, and Future. Nah, 03 Adolescents, like, that is my favorite song on that album, so just I'm glad it turned out the way it was. No disrespect. Shout out Future though. Future slid on his shit too, bro. Don't want him and Thames, bro. They slid on that shit.
Materialized. And then, well, he actually went out and got featured twice on this record for the song Bunts Road Blues, which features him and Thames, and it's produced by Alchemist, which, wow, what a group. And then Run a Train, which to me is a super standout as the beat is incredible, it's super elegant, Cole's rapping is great, the rhyme scheme is super memorizing, and then with the hook Future delivers here, this song is special. I really do wonder when Future recorded this feature, because this sounds like him from about 10 years ago when he was really making a lot of reference tracks for pop stars and rappers, and I just love to hear him getting in this bag. It's so classic, as it just adds a nice texture to the album and the world building as a whole, and as far as the rest of disc 29 goes for J. Cole. Just like a lot of the albums so far, there are people saying they love one half and then think the other is not as good, but what is clear about this disc is that in terms of setting the stakes for the record and giving moments that feel like they would fill fans' expectations rather than Cole's when envisioning what the fall off would be. I think there is more of it on this side of the record, both in terms of the rapping and presentation. Because, for example, with the 29 intro, with its sample of Carolina in My Mind by James Taylor, which really does open this thing up and make it feel like the intro to a movie, and Cole's manager went
Yeah,
out
the
of
intro got me off guard. I thought when I heard the intro, I thought I was playing the wrong album. I'm like, wait, I don't think this is it.
his way to say online after people were talking about this, especially from the area that were loving it, that, well, this sample was not easy to clear and it ran them a lot. That should show everybody the commitment Cole and his team had to the record in terms of just creating the ultimate album that he always wanted to make. But on the first half, with a track like 2-6, where Cole really does bring you into the concept of hearing him while he was making Forest Hills Drive, as he is just talking and manifesting his desire to become one of the faces of the rap game and really to become the face to Who Is You later in the first disc, which is a crazy banger and has some of the most...
By the way, the 2-6 music video came out. I actually just watched it before watching this video. Shit is tough. I fuck with it.
Aggressive and intense rapping we have ever heard from Cole in his entire career, as he is rapping over a beat that flips Mobb Deep's Drop a Gem on him. And then there even is a beat switch here where Cole's raps get even crazier over a beat that gets funky, but in the best way possible. I mean, there are really some strong moments here from Cole where he is rapping at one of the highest calibers on the planet, and the actual production and presentation is really good. Which, on that note, another standout is the track Poor Thing, which features this soul sample beat that has so much tension and drama baked into it, which then with Cole coming in on top of it and delivering this deep performance where he sounds so conflicted, this moment is a track that delivers on the pinnacle of the promise of what the fall off should feel like. And I also should add that there are some West Side...
Bro, there was like a random West Side Gun, like Ayo or something like that. I didn't even hear it until I went on Twitter, and it was like, oh, it was on here at this time. I don't know how niggas heard that shit, bro. I would have never even, like, noticed that shit. But that shit was funny to me, bro. You should have put a verse on that motherfucker.
In the track 2, where he is just yelling, "Hey, yo," if you were really listening, which is always a nice detail, and it's always nice to see him on another major blockbuster rap.
Pay for that shit too, bro.
What starts around the end of disc 29 and then runs more into disc 39, which we will talk about later, well, is something that people are kind of mad about. But listen, the album is almost 2 hours long, so of course there is so much rapping by the nature of it, but Cole also left a lot of room here to make songs that are sonically and creatively...
I ain't gonna lie, I'm sorry, I've been watching this video for so long, like, this is Middle Child. Is that soda he's sitting on? I just never noticed that to this day, but let me continue.
But Cole also left a lot of room here to make songs that are sonically and creatively some of the biggest swings he has ever taken. And I mean, some people clearly love him already, but others are dragging them, and at the center of all this is track 10, The Let Out. And while some people are memeing this song already, as Cole is well auto-tuned up and singing throughout the entire thing pretty much, well, I have to say, while I don't think the track is perfect, and I do reserve the ability to change my mind if I get tired of Cole's singing, there is something pretty captivating about this track, that when Cole's auto-tuned singing gets too much, which, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's as bad as some people are saying, the guitar-driven beat on this thing is another one of the moments on the fall-off.
Part 2 coming soon, bro.